The No Fade channel, checking in. On this episode of Dad's Home Gym, I am going to be reviewing the SKLZ Super Sandbag. I'm going to go over what it comes with, what's inside, how to fill up this sandbag, which is probably the most important thing I'm going to go over, why I chose this sandbag personally, and then we're going to flash forward to 2 weeks to go over my personal experience using this sandbag. If this is your first time to the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. On this series, I simply review a piece of home gym equipment on every episode to help you decide if it is right for your fitness goals, your health needs, and most importantly, your hard-earned money. And the reality is on this series, it's all about making sure that you not only get the best equipment for your home gym, but make sure that you're using your home gym, which I think is probably the biggest problem that many of us face. So I already have a sandbag that's 50 pounds. It's an old sandbag. The company's not even in business anymore. It's 50 pounds. And frankly, it pushes the boundaries of my limitations. These sandbags are made to be functional items. You're supposed to be moving them around. Lots of high intensity, lots of reps, all that good stuff. And 50 pounds, it's a bit much for me if I'm being fair. Now, I know some of you, 50 pounds isn't that heavy, but for the majority of us, the reality is we need lighter sandbags than our egos will attest to. And I know it's easy to just say, I'm going to go get an 80-pound sandbag and throw that thing around. I'm going to Guido hand that sandbag. But frankly, you're going to get it and you're not going to be able to use it as it's supposed to be used because it's just going to be too heavy for you. So I went with this SKLZ Super Sandbag. It's supposed to go up to 40 pounds. And we're going to talk about why you're not going to want to fill it all the way when I go over the filling process. But one of the reasons I bought it is that it has core rubber handles, which I think is a must when you get a sandbag because it makes it just a little bit easier and a little bit more functional to use for a lot of the gripping motions that you're going to be making and a lot of the twisting motions as well. Also, that weight is right where I wanted it to be. I was looking for a 35-pound sandbag. This is a 40-pound sandbag at the max. Okay, so we have the bag itself. Okay, not too wide, not too large. So I'll put up some dimensions, but to give you an idea, it's probably, I want to say 2 feet or maybe even 2.5 feet wide before the handles come into play. But it's got these nice rubber handles, and that's the reason I went. It's got handles at the top, handles at the bottom that are different position in order to be able to add multitude of different exercises depending on what you're going for. And it's got these handles at the side, and these handles are nice. They've got this hard rubber surrounding them, so you're not just kind of tearing into your hands for a cloth. But this is small, but again, we only need 35 pounds, so we don't need some super massive, oversized sandbag that's going to just be more of a pain to use and not fun at all. What else does it come with? It comes with these. These are the inner bags with regards to sand. Each one of them is supposed to hold up to 10 pounds of sand, and they do smell kind of like an inflatable tire, one of those inflatable inner tubes for kids, so some really cheap plastic in terms of smell. And they have these handles on the bottom. So the idea is if you fill these up with 10 pounds, you could then use these individually for separate exercises. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're never going to do that. You're never going to do that. You're not going to want to. It's going to be a nuisance. And if you think that you're going to pull one of these out at 10 pounds and start doing certain exercises with them, you're off your rocker. And so don't get that in your head because you really want to have an honest perception of what you're going to be doing with these sandbags, and that's not it. Also, I have a feeling if you were to take these out of the bag, right, because these are going to be filled up and put in this bag, if you take these out of the bag, they're going to break quite easily. So let's talk, before we fill this up, why these sandbags break, whether it's SKLZ Super Sandbag or any other sandbag. And the reality is these bags get overfilled. People get their bag, it says goes up to 40 pounds. They get their ego out of whack and they think they're going to fill it up to like 42, 45 pounds. They're going to put as much sand in there as possible. And then it's too tight. There's no room for give. And the inner bags burst. And then the sand just comes out. And then your home gym is a mess. And you are SOL. So when I fill these up, when I fill up any sandbag, I always underfill the bags to give them a little room to make sure that I'm not going crazy with the ego. Just give them a little extra room so that sand's not going to put too much pressure on these bags and make them pop. The reality is in a home gym, these sandbags should last you probably a decade, if not a lifetime, because they're not getting nearly as much use and abuse as they would at your local gym. And another thing you want to do when filling up the sand is to use play sand and make sure, again, you're not packing it down. So I do have a little hopefully you can see that down there. I've got a little scale so that I am measuring 9 pounds per each one. So technically it says to put 10. I'm going to put 9 because I wanted a 35-pound sandbag, but we're going to go a little heavy. We're going to rock the boat, go 36 pounds, 9 pounds in each one, just to make sure that it's heavy enough for me, but not overly heavy. Again, I already have a 50-pounder, and that's a little too much for yours truly. So let's get started and see how it goes. Okay, we've got 9 pounds in here and it's almost filled up to the brim. For you to get 10 pounds in here would certainly put this bag at max capacity, and I would venture to guess that these bags at 10 pounds are not going to handle a lot of drops. Even though it's a sandbag, you're not supposed to slam it, but I'm just talking about drops from like knee length high. If you put 10 pounds of sand in here, you are going to be in trouble and you're going to see these split. Now, some of the commentary that I did read with regards to the reviews when I was doing my research is that the bags will split if they are overfilled, and there's a difficult time getting all 4 bags into this SKLZ Super Sandbag. So I will say I'm glad I'm only doing 9 pounds. One good thing, a testament to the quality of this sandbag, is you probably can't see it from the angle of the camera. There's an inside Velcro right down here, so it's going to be sealed nice and tight on the inside. And then you're going to flap over the top Velcro on the outside. So look at that thing. That's 9 pounds. I have to put a whole other pound of sand to fill this thing up, and it is already pretty tight. So we're going to go ahead, do the other 3 bags, and then I'll show you the process with regards to actually loading in these sandbags into the SKLZ Super Sandbag. All right, 4 bags, 9 pounds apiece, that's 36 pounds. One of the biggest complaints when I was reading the reviews is that they said the bags don't fit into the overall SKLZ Super Sandbag. So these filler bladders, bags, whatever you want to call them, just don't fit. And they did have to do a tutorial on their website to how to specifically put them in to make sure they all fit, because this is probably a smaller bag than you would think for 40 pounds worth of sand. But since I only have 36 pounds, I'm hoping that the process will go a little bit smoother. Wow, that was a lot more difficult than I thought, and that only had 36 pounds versus 40. I don't know if that would have been done at 40 pounds. I can see why they had to put out a specific tutorial on how to do it. So a few things worth noting. When you do get a nice quality sandbag, this zipper, you'll notice that not only does it come with a super heavy duty zipper to zipper up the main bag, but it also comes with a Velcro strip in order to kind of seal it down so there's no flop. I'll turn this around so you can hopefully see. So you can see there's a little bit of flop there for 2 things. One, the zipper is pretty cheap based on zippers go for heavy duty sandbags. Pretty cheap zipper, which is why I try to really be careful with it. If I force that zipper, I definitely think it would have broken. Another thing to note, once you get this thing filled, you're not going to want to take it out and put it back. That zipper is going to eventually break if you keep doing that too much. So definitely be considerate of how much sand you're putting in here so that it's a one and done thing. You just fill it up and you are done. And again, do be mindful of the lack of Velcro, because that is probably one of the differentiators between the budget one, which I would put this into in terms of category, and the more expensive one. So I was going to do 2 weeks and then give an update on this. But I'll be honest with you, because this definitely seems to be on the lower end budget of sandbags, I'm going to give it 3 weeks. I'm going to put this thing 3 weeks through some seriously good use, see if it holds up, and give you my final thoughts in 3 weeks. And again, when you go budget, it is nice to go through Amazon because they ensure your purchases. So let's see where I am in 3 weeks. And just like that, it has been 3 weeks since first filling up the SKLZ Super Heavy Duty Sandbag. I need to mention right off the top, when I first filled it up and did the initial video, I thought that I paid $35 for it. Don't know where I got that price point. It's actually $50 and some change. That's what I paid for it at Amazon. And again, I'll put an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. So it's been 3 weeks and I have used this sandbag 6 times now. So I think it's fair of me to give you the pros and cons of this sandbag to help you decide if it is right and worth that $50 price tag. So first and foremost, big standout, the pros on this sandbag is that those handles are amazing. Those handles are super easy to hold. There's 6 handles total, 3 different versions of handles so that you can really get a lot of different exercises in using those different handles. Upright rows, bent over rows, front squats, back squats, lunges, a whole host of functional ab exercises, so on and so forth. So those handles are probably the biggest standout for this sandbag. Overall, what I like about it is that it's not that heavy. Oftentimes you get these sandbags and they're like 50 plus pounds, and most of us just can't handle that heavy weight. I did fill mine at 36 pounds, and I thought that the weight of 36 pounds for me was ideal. However, we're going to start talking about some of the cons. A sandbag is supposed to be fluid, not fluid like water, but you're supposed to have a little bit of movement front to back and left to right with regards to when you're using the sandbag. It's not supposed to feel like a solid piece of weight. It's supposed to have some give to it, and that's part of the functionality of the sandbag, and that's part of the reason it works so well to train, because your body has to get used to that moving sand. Now, I underfilled all 4 bags, and I still not only had trouble getting those 4 bags in to the overall bag and sealing it up with that zipper, but once you start using it, you realize that it's packed in there so tight, so tight, even though I underfilled it, that there is no movement. It almost feels like you're picking up like one solid weight, almost. There's no movement, so you lose a lot of the functionality of actually having a sandbag that's gonna have some give to it. And in reality, even though I underfilled each one of those individual bags by 1 pound, I would probably recommend to underfill those by at least 2 pounds. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably make this a 30-pound sandbag. I would do 2 7-pound bags and 2 8-pound bags to give me more movement in that sandbag and not to overfill those internal bags. Now, after 3 weeks, none of the bags have split, so that's obviously a positive. But again, I've only used it 6 times, so you got to think a year, 2 years, or 3 years of dropping it, mishandling it, and roughhousing with it. You want those internal bags to last, at least 5 or 10 years, if not longer. So overall, I have been happy with the sandbag in the way that it handles, in the way that it is not super heavy. At $50, you're certainly moving away from that budget category for a lightweight sandbag. Do I think this is a good sandbag? Absolutely. Am I going to get tons of use out of it? Sure. Do I think that the internal bags are going to last 5 or even 10 years? Probably, because I know how to make sure that I'm not slamming that bag onto the ground and bursting those internal bags. Overall, though, I think if you are willing to kick in an extra $10 or probably $20, you could get yourself a nice 30 to 40 pound sandbag that's going to have the handles that I'm talking about, but you're not going to have the issue of having to fight to get those internal bags into the big canvas bag, and you're going to have the bonus of having a little bit more movement in that sand, which is really what you want when you are using a sandbag for functional training. Overall, not a bad bag. I'd love to see this price point come down a little bit more, try to bring it down into the $40 range, or I would recommend that when you do fill this up, don't go super heavy. Don't go to that 40-pound marker. Keep in mind, it might say 40-pound sandbag. It is not a 40-pound sandbag. At 36 pounds, it's still super tight and there's almost no give or movement in that sand, and I would certainly recommend trying to go lighter than even the 36 pounds that I showed in this video. If you have any questions on the SKLZ Super Duty, Heavy Duty Sandbag, drop it in the comments below, and I will get them answered as quickly as possible. If you're looking to see what price it is on Amazon at the time that you're watching this video, because Amazon prices do vary from day to day, click on that Amazon affiliate link. It does help me out and it does help out the channel. As usual, thank you for watching. If you've come this far in the video, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you be a great parent to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I provide ideas and insights to help you save time, money, and your sanity. 3 things that are in short supply for every parent out there.